Our guest on Perspectives today is George Peterson, and he is the chairman of the Conneaut Port Authority, and he's also well known for letting me use his driveway during D-Day weekend. George, hello.
Hi, Bob. Good to talk to you.
Yeah, you too. Give us a little bit of background first. How did you become Port Authority chairman?
Well, Bob, when I came back to Conneaut in 2011, I was doing a lot of boating and fishing out of the Conneaut harbor, and then when a position came open on the board, I stuck my name in there and was interviewed by Mr. Hockaday, and through that process, I was selected to become a board member, and then there became a couple openings as the chairman, and I submitted my name for one of them the second time around, and lo and behold, I got elected by the board. So that's how I ended up being the board chairman.
Now, the Port Authority, too, it's kind of, the name is kind of a misnomer. It sounds like you're just talking about, boat docks and the lake and stuff, and it's far more than that, correct?
Oh, yes. Yeah, Bob, we started off, for years and years, that was our focus as the Port Authority, is boats and docks. Now that continues to be a primary function of the Port Authority. However, we have really spread out to become more involved in community development and the economic development of the city of Conneaut.
Yeah, I wanted to get into that a little bit because a decision was made a year or so again that the Conneaut Port Authority, the Conneaut Foundation, and the city of Conneaut would each pitch in, I think, $20,000 a year to hire Insight Advisory Group to work toward bringing new business and industry to the city. So can you talk about that a little bit, and how's it gone so far?
Oh, sure. Hey, it's become really a great relationship. And I think we're just tapping into the Insight Advisory Group, even though we're going to enter our third year of this relationship. Mm-hmm. So we're really just now starting to tap into it. The Port Authority the city of Conneaut has been utilizing it extensively, but the Port Authority is really starting to utilize them a lot more. As a matter of fact, we just had a meeting last Friday to review 2020, and the list, is getting longer and longer each year, so we're pretty excited about that. And we worked on plans for 2021, and that list continues to grow. So hopefully, we are starting to see the fruits from our labors, and hopefully as we continue to grow, they'll bring more and more opportunities to Port Authority as well as the city of Conneaut and the Conneaut Foundation.
You said the list. What are you referring to as far as the list? Do you mean like list of things that are looking like they're coming to Conneaut, or?
Yeah, the list of goals and objectives for each of the groups is starting to get longer and longer. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the goals and objectives can be as simple as RFPs, which are requests for proposals for different pieces of property, or even different functions within the Port Authority, within the city of Conneaut, to big projects like, and I'll just point real quickly to the Conneaut Float and Fly facility on Weldon Road. That was an idea, and it started off with a few people starting to talk about it, and then we really had to have a plan for it, so we utilized Insight Advisory Group to help us put together that plan and go out with a proposal, go out with a request for proposals, and then through the interview process of the people that applied. So they were a big help to all of us in that whole process.
They were blessed with some pretty good weather for their first year, too.
Oh, they were. It's really exciting. You go into these things and you really you put together a plan, you work with the investor, and the plan, then you have to execute on that plan. And you do it jointly because there's parts that the Port Authority had to follow through on, and then parts that the Conneaut Creek Float and Fly had to follow through on.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to get back into what's going on in the harbor and that sort of thing, but I also wanted, I think it's underreported, at least in my opinion, is what's going on like with this new, is it Enrevo? Pyro? Enrevo, okay. Yeah, they want to construct a plant that takes scrap tire and turns them into useful stuff like crude oil or whatever. And from what I saw, 50 jobs possible? Can you talk about that?
I can talk a little bit about it, Bob. Some of it is still being worked out in the details, right. And I don't want to launch anything that still hasn't been announced. But I will tell you that the Port Authority is involved in that. We are in discussion along with the city of Conneaut with Enrevo, and there's going to be some activities. And we should be in position to announce that in the very near future of what's going on.
And there's a transportation thing. The $19.5 million federal grant to fund Conneaut Connector project. Can you talk about first of all, that's a good size grant. I wouldn't mind getting $19.5 million myself. But
well, the actual project's $28 million. And this is $19.5 million of it. And it's federal DOT grant, and it's actually the largest port infrastructure grant on the Great Lakes in history.
Wow.
That has been awarded. So we're really excited about this.
And it's the largest grant, from what I understand, it's been awarded in Ashtabula County by anyone. Okay. I heard that, I think, from Mr. Hockaday at one point, I believe.
Well, I hadn't heard that, but it doesn't surprise me that it is the largest grant. Because it's huge, and it's a big opportunity for a lot of different reasons. It's also, it's got a rail aspect to it. It's got a roadway aspect to it. The biggest part of that is, or not the biggest part, but one of the parts of that is the truck traffic that would have to go through the city of Conneaut. Mm-hmm. This will allow the truck traffic to end up down at the east side of the port. And as you know today, the only way down there on that side is through Woodwith Road and through that very, very narrow tunnel.
I was down there on my bicycle recently. Yeah, I rode my bicycle down through there not too long ago. I wouldn't want to be on a big truck or anything trying to get through there.
No, so this will be off of Thompson Road with a connector over the two sets of railroads and into the port on the east side. And then you take a look at these companies that are looking at Conneaut. They need access to the port, or they could use access to the port where you may be bringing in raw materials. You may actually be shipping out raw materials on the Great Lakes. But it also has a rail aspect to it, so that people may be bringing in raw materials and then shipping out finished goods on a rail or a truck. So there's a whole lot of things that have to interconnect that add up to this $28 million project.
So this roadway linking Thompson Road and the east side of the port, that might open up a whole lot, because from what I understand, there's been a lot of industries that have been interested in that area, but it's the transportation thing that's been keeping them back.
This is true. I mean, there's 900 acres down there.
Right.
So, and the port of Conneaut, and I'm not speaking for the dock company as we know it around here, but I'm not speaking for them in any way. But that does open up opportunities for them to be able to talk to these companies that may be able to use some of that property over there.
It's kind of ironic, but the former owners of the dock company, U.S. Steel, they asked that all that property be abandoned back in the 70s, and the city pretty much readily went along with it because they thought they're getting a steel mill. And that never happened. So,
right.
And now some of that area, you've got what's going to be a park, a metro park, Turkey Creek, and the only way you can get there is is by boat or coming in from West Springfield.
Right.
So that should open up more opportunities as far as recreation too, if you want to get to the east side of the lake.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It gives us a whole lot more opportunities over there for, all the trails that can go through it, through Creek Park and through that whole area. So I think we're looking at a multifaceted thing happening here in Conneaut. You bring in a company that's willing to make a $200 million private investment in a new facility, and what has to happen is you have to have satellite businesses that start to pop up that help support that kind of installation. And then, now it becomes very attractive for a whole lot of different kinds of businesses, not just supply businesses to the industry, but you also have restaurant business, you have hotel business, you have recreational business and stuff like that comes along with it.
And Revo, from what I understand, they were looking at all kinds of different areas to locate, and but they're located in Oklahoma, but then they decided on Conneaut for their second plant. So that's pretty good for Conneaut, I would think.
Oh yeah, it's huge for Conneaut.
Speaking of, go ahead.
I was just going to say that Conneaut showed flexibility in their discussions with Revo. Mm-hmm. So that helped a lot in Revo's discussions, our decision-making process.
Mm-hmm. We've George Peterson is our guest. He's the chairman of the Conneaut Port Authority. We're going to have a part 2 of this next week, but we've got about 3 minutes left. And there's an interesting story in the Courier on October 22nd. It said that an unidentified plant wants to locate near the water in Conneaut and would invest $900 million and create 115 jobs. What is the chances of that? I mean, do you know anything about that?
I'm not familiar with that one at all. So we'll just have to stand by. There are others that are having those discussions.
So the next few years should be interesting in Conneaut.
It will be.
What?
There's no doubt. I mean, I'm excited about what's going on here in Conneaut. I mean, in part 2 of this conversation, we can talk about some more of the things that the port is doing. But
yes,
I'm just very, very excited about the stuff that we are starting to do here in Conneaut.
A couple of minutes left. I wanted to talk a little bit about the dredging. The city, it's kind of a good idea because as of July, you can't take the dredged material and put it back in Lake Erie. So something needs to be done with it. So it looks like the city is wanting to put together some kind of a plant or something that will repurpose the dredging material.
Yes, the city did get a grant for that, but there's been some, because of the area that they're in, it's going to take some more money. So there's some of this grant money is identified for that dredging facility. We could do a whole session on dredge material and dredging out of the Conneaut Harbor. But you're right that you can't dump in open lake anymore, or you can't dispose of dredge material in open lake anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They're having, my guess is they're going to have to give some variances for that in the near future. If the CN decided they needed to dredge the deep water port or something like that, they have to have a place to put it
right
until this gets open. But there's a whole lot of regulations that go with this. This is going to be another big opportunity here in Conneaut that dredge facility gets open. I mean, we need it for our recreational
right
channels.
And to bring the ships in.
We need a place for it to go. So it's a good opportunity.
We're going to get back with you in a week, and we're going to talk more about what is going on with the Port Authority. George Peterson, thank you for being here today, and we'll get back to you.
All right.
I'm Bob Lebzelter. I'm Bob Lebzelter on Perspective.